Welcome back to Beyond Wisdom, where we explore timeless truths for a more peaceful and meaningful life. We all feel restlessness, a quiet ache that something's missing, that life should feel fuller or simpler, or at least make more sense. But often, this inner unrest doesn't come from the chaos outside us. It comes from forgetting the steady, grounding principles that once shaped whole civilizations. Ancient life wasn't always easier, but in many ways, it was wiser. And some of that wisdom can still guide us home, if we remember it. In the modern world, we rush against time. We act like we're in a race, always chasing goals, likes, deadlines. But ancient cultures lived by the sun, the moon, the turning of the seasons. Time wasn't an enemy. It was a rhythm to move with. The Greeks had two words for time: Chronos, the ticking, measurable kind, and Kairos, the right, opportune moment. Life wasn't just about how long things took. It was about when they felt right. The Navajo people, too, speak of walking in beauty, not sprinting through it. When we forget this, we start pushing when we should be pausing, forcing when we should be flowing, and that pressure builds into restlessness. But nature never hurries, and everything still gets done. You are not separate from that rhythm. You belong to it. Ancient teachings, from Stoicism to Zen, all repeat a quiet truth. Peace comes not from having more, but needing less. The Roman philosopher Epictetus lived with almost nothing, and yet he said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Modern life constantly whispers that something's missing, that happiness is just one purchase or achievement away. But this restlessness is fed by forgetting how little we truly need. The Buddha left behind a palace, not because pain made him leave, but because comfort had dulled something in his soul. He realized that the hunger for more is endless, but contentment is a choice. Ancient people knew how to feel full with little. They didn't chase satisfaction. They created it, right where they were. Today, we're encouraged to think about what works for us, our goals, our brand, our journey. But in most ancient societies, the self was not an island. In African Ubuntu philosophy, a person is a person through other people. In Confucian China, family, community, and responsibility came before self-interest. The Lakota Sioux believed every decision should be made with consideration for the next 7 generations. They understood something we often forget. When we only chase what serves us, we shrink. And that shrinking leads to disconnection, anxiety, and unrest. Because deep down, we are wired to matter to one another, to know that our presence is part of something bigger than personal success. Rest returns when we begin to live not just for ourselves, but through and with others. Most of us don't sit still unless we're forced to. We fill quiet with noise, pause with scrolling, but ancient wisdom held stillness as sacred. In Taoist thought, water is powerful not because it fights, but because it yields, flows, and waits. The Stoics practiced ataraxia, an unshaken calm that doesn't come from hiding from life, but standing firm within it. Even the Desert Fathers, early Christian monks, withdrew not to escape, but to listen. They believed truth speaks quietly, and you need stillness to hear it. When we avoid silence, we miss that voice, and the more we run from it, the louder the restlessness becomes. But when we finally slow down, breathe, and allow ourselves to be, something shifts. Strength doesn't always look like motion. Sometimes it looks like stillness that cannot be moved. Much of our anxiety comes from thinking we're falling behind, as if there's one path, one pace, one correct way to grow. But the ancients saw life as circular, not linear. In Hindu philosophy, existence moves in cycles of birth, growth, decay, and renewal. The seasons themselves teach this. Spring returns, not because we force it, but because life turns inward before it opens again. The ancient Celts marked the year with sacred festivals that honored endings just as much as beginnings. But in our modern world, we're taught to always move up, to always progress. And when life doesn't go as planned, we feel lost. But maybe the path you're on isn't wrong, just winding. Just like rivers don't flow in straight lines, neither do we. The ancient world accepted this, and in that acceptance, found peace. This isn't easy to hear, but ancient cultures kept death close. The Egyptians spent lifetimes preparing for it. The Stoics meditated on it daily. In Japan, the art of wabi-sabi finds beauty in impermanence, in the crack in the bowl, the fading leaf. Today, we push death away. We fear aging, avoid grief, and try to live like nothing ends. But in doing that, we also dull life. When we remember that our time here is finite, we stop wasting it. We forgive more, rush less, notice beauty more deeply. As the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years." Ancient wisdom reminds us, death isn't the enemy. Forgetting it is. Because when we remember death, we remember how to live. So much of modern life is automated, optimized, and transactional. But ancient people carved meaning into everyday moments through ritual, lighting a lamp, blessing the food, chanting at dawn. These weren't just habits. They were acts of remembrance, of reconnecting with something greater. Whether it was the Japanese tea ceremony or the daily offerings in Hindu homes, ritual slowed life down. It gave shape to the sacred. Today, many of us wake up, scroll, eat, work, sleep, and repeat. And yet we wonder why we feel empty. Rituals, even small ones, remind us that we are more than machines. They create a pause. They honor time. They bring the soul back into the body. You don't need religion to create a ritual. You just need intention and a willingness to make the ordinary sacred again. Restlessness isn't always a problem to solve. Sometimes it's a signal, a whisper from within, reminding us that we've drifted from what once kept us grounded. The ancient world wasn't perfect, but it remembered things we forget, that we belong to nature, that stillness matters, that death is not to be feared, and that meaning is found not in speed or success, but in rhythm, connection, and reverence. When we return to these truths, even gently, something in us begins to settle. We feel less lost, less hungry for what doesn't satisfy. We come back to something quiet and eternal, and find that it was never really gone, just waiting to be remembered. What ancient principle or forgotten truth helps you feel more grounded when life feels overwhelming? Share it in the comments. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thanks for watching. If this video brought you value, subscribe to Beyond Wisdom. Until next time, stay calm, Stay strong and stay wise.